Sure.
Action.
So what we have here is our pots and pans rack. Second prototype, higher fidelity, incorporating everybody's first prototypes into one second product. So what we have here is our pulley system, and we only have a mechanical advantage of 4 compared to 6 with the first prototype due to just lack of materials. But we do have higher quality pulleys, which is an improvement from the first one. Yeah, same rope, more weight, and it is very easy to lift. The second part of that was incorporated into this new one that was not in part of the first one is how we are hanging the rack. What we have here are the sliders. As you can see here, there's grooves. There's the grooves where our rack is sliding in these grooves on this rack, and ideally this would be steel, like, or aluminum or something like that, and maybe not wood. And so this rack is constrained from swinging away from the wall. It stays in one path.
And Megan, if you zoom in slightly, if you're able to, you might be able to see the steel fastener that we're using in there to actually slide in the track, if the camera will focus. But right at the tip of my finger, there's a steel piece of T-channel that was welded together to create the bracketry. And there's one of those at each corner of the shelf, so there's 4 total. And on the front, we incorporated the cam grippers, and one upgrade to this version of the cam grippers is adjustability. And the adjustability works by taking a wrench and loosening off a nut back here, and then this whole cam can move sideways, left or right. So if I wanted to put this pan in here widthwise, well, it might not work like that right now, but okay, it's not gonna work like that for this one, but you can slide it around for different widths of handles, and ideally there would be enough room for adjustment to fit a pan handle in sideways, and you tighten it down and boom, grab it.
We also have made a model frame here, and we actually put drywall on it for maximum realism. We have standard stud spacing at 16 inches on the center. If we were to do it again, we would redesign the width of this rack so that these sliders would actually line up with the studs. As of now, they are not. But that is something that we learned from this prototype, and if we were to do a third one, that's something that we would adjust. And then the shelf is a change from the first prototype that Taylor did. She did a sliding drawer on the bottom, which we abandoned due to safety reasons. So what we did was design a shelf that had these rails on it for safety reasons. If the rack was all the way up towards the ceiling, and say something happened like this, that pot can't go flying off the shelf. You know, it's gonna stay in here. Same thing with down here. So
let's bring it up.
Okay.
And we are working on figuring out a way to secure the rope. For now, this is just for demonstration purpose, but we would have some sort of hand-operated winch for raising and lowering that would have a security catch on it to make sure that things didn't come flying down. And we're still working on the descent. It works a lot better going up than going down. It's just sticky because the tracks are not that great. This is just proof of concept, but
there it goes.
As you can see, even with a jostling and shaking, it'll still work pretty well, and nothing came off. It works pretty well.
The lifting is very easy.
Very smooth on the way up. And everything stayed in place.
Yeah, even just stayed on.
if this was on the wall, right now I have super easy access. I can easily grab my pots and pans, and then it could go up further so that these are at chest height. And then if I had a counter under here, this track could go even higher, and we could make this potentially even to the point where it's above head height. So I could completely go underneath the rack to work at the counter without interfering with the pot and pan rack, which would be ideal in a kitchen with high enough ceilings. But for our demonstration here, we weren't able to get that height. Okay, I think that's